Good morning, and welcome to Learning Life, Becoming Better. I'm your host, Angela Taylor, and I am just pleased to be here this Saturday morning on both YouTube Live and Facebook Live to just share some encouragement with you to um, just prayerfully help others learn life and become better. Sometimes you just need something said by someone else. Sometimes you just need the something brought out by someone else. It's not that you didn't know, it's that you need a reminder. Yeah. So that's why we continue. We just continue. There are things in life that become our priorities change, our priorities shift depending on what time, depending on the circumstances. But we need to make sure that we are doing our very best each day that God has given us to grow. And that's why I'm here. That's why God gives me a word to share. Now, I try to leave opinion out, but I'm a person. So, opinion does get in, just like in everybody else's message. But the message is from God. The message is, oh Lord, excuse me. The message is from God. And this is the message that He has for us today. For everyone who was caught by the title, How to Stop Waiting. How to Stop Waiting. I know that there's a lot of scripture that says, wait on the Lord. And there's a lot of scriptures that says, patience, um, let patience work its perfect work. Um, I know that. But in some cases, and you might be able to identify um, these in your own life, prayerfully you will. In some cases, it's not necessarily patience that we are exhibiting when we wait. It really isn't. So we are going to go straight to John chapter 5, verses 1 through 8 is what I'm going to read, but I'm going to focus on something. This is some of you may be familiar with the story, some of you may not. So I'm going to read verses 1 through 8 first. There's no opinion in me reading the Bible. This is all truth. All truth. And then I'm going to point some things out for you to consider. All right? That's how we're going to do this one today. So, chapter 5, we're going to read verses 1 through 8. After this, there was a feast of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now, there is at Jerusalem by the sheep market a pool, which is called in the Hebrew tongue Bethesda, having 5 porches. And no, this isn't let's just hold on. Verse 3. In these lay a great multitude of impotent folk, of blind, halt, withered, waiting for the moving of the water. Verse 4. For an angel went down, this is why they were waiting. For an angel went down at a certain season into the pool and troubled the water. Whosoever then first, after the troubling of the water, stepped in was made whole of whatsoever disease he had. And a certain man was there, which had an infirmity 38 years. When Jesus saw him lie and knew that he had been now a long time in that case, he saith unto him, Wilt thou be made whole? The impotent man answered him, Sir, I have no man, when the water is troubled, to put me into the pool. But while I am coming, another steppeth down before me. Verse 8, Jesus saith unto him, Rise, take up thy bed, and walk. And let's finish it with verse 9. And immediately the man was made whole, and took up his bed and walked. And on the same day was the Sabbath. Okay, so let's go back through the verses that we're going to focus on. some things that we need to consider that the Lord brought out in this passage. In verse, let's start with verse 3. In these lay a great multitude of impotent folk, of blind, halt, withered, waiting for the moving of the water. So there were a lot of people there who needed healing. There were a lot of people there who needed recovery. There were a lot of, it says, a great multitude. Now we hear about the great multitude being fed, but here this is a great, we don't hear about this great multitude being healed. Verse 3, John chapter 5. Stay with me. Stay with me. There's something that I want all my intelligent people to consider. All my people who've been waiting to start an exercise program, who've been waiting for to get word to make the next move in their career, that's been waiting to do even little things like clean out your basement or your garage, or all my folks that have been waiting to start eating properly. If you said you were going to do it, but you haven't yet started. Okay? So these are things that you want to do, but you have not yet started. You say, okay, on Monday I'm going to start doing that. Next week, then I'm going to start doing that. When this happens, then I'm going to start that. I know some of you even say, when my season comes, that's mentioned in verse 4. It says, for an angel went down at a certain season into the pool. And so some of you say, well, when my season comes, then I'm going to take advantage. When my season comes, then I'm going to do this. But how do you know when your season comes? How do you know when your season comes? I hear a lot. It's my season. It's your season, but I, I'm just throwing questions out. I want you to consider. Okay. So in verse 3, John chapter 5, verse 3, there lay a great multitude of impotent folk. That means they wanted to do something and they could not. They were prevented from doing it. They stopped themselves. They needed help. Okay? Help in whatever area it is. You might want to stop smoking. You might want to stop drinking. After this next party, I'm not going to get high no more. After this, after I done got high this last time, I don't want to do that no more because I'm missing out too much on this and so I'm just gonna start not doing that. Oh, a whole bunch of folks have said they're gonna start not doing something. Yep. So let's keep going. So there was a great multitude of impotent folk. Verse 4, for an angel went down at a certain season into the pool. And whosoever then first, after the troubling of the water, stepped in, was made whole. So that's why they were all there. Now understand this. And a certain man was there which had an infirmity 38 years. This man had an infirmity for 38 years. Some of you aren't even 38 years old. 38 years. All of Jesus' life, this man had an infirmity. Whatever it was, whatever it was. Apparently, he couldn't walk because Jesus told him to get up his whatever, whether it was a disease that was crippling him or he was actually crippled or whatever it was, he had this problem for 38 years. Now, first of all, I want to say this. He kept coming to the pool. He didn't give up. You got to give yourself credit. You do. You can't just keep beating yourself. I should have started this. You can't keep beating yourself over the head time and time again because guess what? I said it in one of my first like 5 episodes. Blame does not help. Blame does not help solve the problem. Who did it? That's not necessarily the question. Who is going to fix it is more what you when you get into a situation you really, whether it was Sally Sue or Joe down the street, When you get into a situation that you cannot get out of, what you want is someone to say how to get out of it. Because we can clearly blame folks all day long and be right about it, but it does not fix the problem. Okay, that was that. Um, and a certain man was there, which had an infirmity 38 years. 30. How have you asked yourself, how long have I been saying I was going to do this? How long have I been going through this same thing? How long have I been trying to get better in this area or that area? It's across the board. I can't just say physically. I just can't say mentally because I have to say across the board socially. Some of us want friends, and so we say, well, I'm going to socialize more. How long have you been saying that? Some of you have diseases that can be eradicated with diet and exercise, and you've been saying you're going to do that. How long? Some of you have been at a job or in a profession that really is not satisfying to you, and you've been saying you were going to move on or start your own business or do this or do that. Or maybe even small things in your business. Like I'm just going to change insurance companies. I'm going to change the title. I'm going to I'm going to be to work 15 minutes early because you see some benefit in that. How long have you been saying the same thing that you're going to start, but you haven't? Yeah, we all have something. It's called procrastination in some points, but we all have some areas that we need to start doing what we know is really good for us or better for us. Okay. And a certain man was there which had an infirmity 38 years. Some of y'all want to give up after two. This man did not give up. 38 years. Now, some stuff you might want to give up on because it's just not meant for you. When you think about it, when you think it through, do you really want to do that? Is that really something that you are moving to? Do you really want to have your own business? Because that takes a lot of administrative work and you just don't feel like dealing with that. So quit saying it. But this man has been going over and over and over for 38. Well, he's had this infirmity. Let me not throw opinion in it. He's had this infirmity for 38 years. Mm. Now, verse 5 says, when Jesus saw him lie and knew that he had been now a long time in that case, he says unto him, wilt thou be made whole? Now, Jesus was not part of the great multitude that had an infirmity, obviously. Jesus was walking among the great multitude of people who were there for the stirring of the water. Jesus was walking. Jesus, you could see him physically at that time. Jesus was walking among them. And Jesus approached the man. The man did not call out to Jesus. Remember that because this next, I'm going to make a point right here. Jesus saith unto him, wilt thou be made whole? And the impotent man answered him, sir, I have no man when the water is troubled to put me into the pool, but while I'm coming, another step is down before me. So I'm trying. I've been trying, but somebody always beats me to it. I've been trying, but something always prevents me from completing. I've wanted to, but the man's reason was there's been nobody there to put him in the pool. But here's my question. You may have been saying the same thing over and over and over again to yourself. But at what point did you get tired of asking for help? At what point in time did you just say, I'm just going to keep trying this on my own? I'm just going to keep trying this the same way. Because Jesus, and this is why I ask this. Think about this. Jesus was here walking among the great multitude. The man did not ask Jesus, who is healthy. The man did not ask Jesus, to help him get in the water. Jesus had to approach him. So you've had this infirmity 38 years and you've been trying, but you have no friends to put you in. What about asking that stranger that's walking around this great multitude of sick? He's near enough to say something to you. What's near in that hand? Jesus is near in that hand. But you keep trying the same way. You're not going to ask him? Seriously, 38 years with an infirmity. Jesus has to speak to the man first. And the man's reason for not being in the pool, not being healed, is because he doesn't have any friends. Did he even say friends? I believe so. No, he just said, I have no man. Jesus is a man right here. He said, I have no man to put me into the pool. Well, why didn't you ask Jesus? Why did you wait for Jesus to approach you? Why didn't you see this healthy man walking through the great multitude of infirm and impotent people and say, I'm going to ask him? And when he came near, why didn't you? One of the reasons, I'm just going to say this, one of the reasons that we continue to put stuff off is because we're doing the same thing. We put off dieting and exercising because really we don't want to do it. We don't want to sacrifice. We don't want to look like a fool when we ask people for help. We've been denied so many times. I'm just saying, maybe one of these is your reason. You've been denied so many times. You started and stopped so many times that you're really still only looking for one avenue. You're really still thinking, if I can just get to that pool, if I can just get to this place, if I can just wake up early enough, if I can just get to this weight level, if I can just pick up the phone and call folks, if I can just get another 2 hours in my day, they are reasons, but they're reasons that stop you from starting. They are reasons that stop you from starting. So, my one question here was, why did he not ask this man that's walking around hale and hearty? And some of you say, well, I asked Jesus. Mm. And what else did you do? What else did you do? What else did you do? You asked Jesus and then you sat and wait. You said, put it in Jesus' hands and I'm going to sit here and wait. Well, we got 66 books in the Bible. And they have instruction along with reproof and correction. There's a whole lot of instruction in here. Did you look for your answer? Has he already given you your answer, but you want it a certain way? Has he already approached you and you came up with reasons why you still couldn't do it? Because Jesus approached this man and the man came up with a reason. Because Jesus asked him, not do you want me to take you to the pool, but will you be made whole? That's what Jesus asked him. Jesus is asking you, do you really want to? Do you really want, or are you just giving it lip service? So the impotent man came up with his reason. And so verse 8, Jesus said unto him, rise, take up thy bed, and walk. He didn't even address the pool or the fact or your reasons or your excuses or why you haven't done it for so long and you've been in farm for 38 years and you haven't figured that out yet. Jesus didn't address any, he did not criticize that man. He didn't fight because all of that means nothing when I'm looking for a solution. When I'm looking to do better, when I'm looking to be better, when I'm looking to change some things, no matter how small or how large in my life, all the criticism in the world is not going to help me. 38 years the man has been infirm. 38 years he's had reason. 38 years. He's had reason to give up. 38 years. They always gonna come and get in front of me because I don't have no man there. So I need to quit going to the pool. That's where some of us are. Mm. But see, Jesus is already here for us. And Jesus is asking, will you be made whole? Not, do you want to keep going your own route? Do you want to keep doing what you've been trying to do and failed over and over again? Jesus says, will you be made whole? And even though the man didn't say yes, he did not clearly say yes. He gave, we we even sing a song, yes, Jesus. I'm not gonna start singing, but the man didn't even clearly say yes. But God knew that the man did want to be made whole. Jesus says unto him, after this man gave his reasons, his excuses, after all the reasons and excuses, Jesus said, rise, take up thy bed, and walk. Do it. Do it. Rise, take up your bed, and walk. Do it. And immediately the man was made whole and took up his bed and walked. He did what Jesus told him to do. He didn't give another excuse. See, you can give excuse. I know. We done gave. You're not the only one. I think everybody that's listening to this still has given up and said, "Well, tomorrow, well, Monday, well, next month, well, when this is better, when the economy gets better, when my children are older, when I find a mate, when this happens, when that happens." And we have all types of things that we wait on, and we don't really need to wait on them. We just need to do it. We just need to move. God said in the Old Testament, whatsoever you put your hands to, do it with all your might. Now, in the New Testament, we got Jesus, we got the Holy Ghost that gives us the strength, that gives us the might, the power, the spirit to do, to do. How to stop waiting. Mm. Jesus says unto him, rise, take up thy bed and walk. And immediately the man was made whole and took up his bed and walked. And on the same day was the Sabbath. Just do it. You know what? They have many different ways that you can start things. All right? You've been saying you're going to start this on Monday. That's fine. Write it down. Well, I don't like writing stuff down. Well, that might be why you haven't started yet. That might be why you're still waiting. See, you could come up with many excuses. Put it on your calendar. Put an alarm on there to do. Now, when you do this, make sure it's something you really want to do. Otherwise, you are wasting your time making goals, setting goals that you think would be good goals, but you really not going to do it. Because then what you come with is self condemnation with that. You say, I said I was going to do this and I didn't. That's not helpful for you. It's not. Jesus has mercy. Jesus has mercy. Jesus has mercy. And is waiting. He showed mercy towards this man. This man who came up with his reasons. This man who didn't ask him from get go to help. Jesus shows mercy. And he shows that same mercy to you and I. Whatever your plans, whatever your goals, first, here's one way to stop waiting. Write them down with a date. And if you need to, put a time on it. Yep. I'm going to call this friend on this day at this time and do it. I'm going to, by the end of, or not by the, no, get a start date. On this day, I'm going to do this. By on this day, I'm going to do that. And on this, use a calendar. Write it down in a notebook. Put it on a piece of paper and stick it on your refrigerator. Just don't keep keeping it in your mind. And see. And then look at that and say to yourself, is that something I really, today was supposed to be the day and I didn't do it. Maybe I need to scratch that off my list. Or maybe I need to do it before midnight tonight. How to stop waiting is you simply move. The mercy of God is everlasting. Jesus asks us, will you be made whole? And sometimes we come up with excuses and reasons that we want to give all the background. And we don't even say yes, like this man. But God reads our heart. And He knows that sometimes the frustration of years of trying to do something, the frustration of years of being knocked down, the frustration of years of being denied, of being oppressed, the frustration of years stops us from moving forward. The frustration of losing. It's not pretty when you lose, when you think you got something and you find out you don't lost it. It's not pretty. But Jesus understands that. Don't stay in your frustration. Don't stay in your lack of motivation. Don't stay in your self pity. Woe is me and all this great multitude of other people. But here's God right here for you, asking you, will you be made whole? Then put in the time. Then put in this. Then put in the prayer time. Then put in the reading time. Then put in the fasting time. Then put in the research time. Then do it. Then call whoever. Then look up this. Do it. Then put your gym shoes on and go run. Then do it. We stop ourselves more than anyone else stops us. We do. Don't continue to stop yourself from both small and great things. Don't stop yourself from changing because you're getting tired of people, or you're getting tired of a situation, or you're getting tired of trying. Do it. Pick up your bed and walk. because God has given us His mercy. And mercy is what we don't deserve. So stop beating yourself up over the head talking about I should have did this a long time ago. First of all, that does not help. Move on. God bless you. God keep you. Prayerfully, we will see you next Saturday on Learning Life, Becoming Better, and you will have gotten the impetus to move, to pick up your bed and walk in whatever area or areas, be it social, with your relationships, mental, with your own mental health and your stress levels, be it physical, with what's going on with your body, whether it's financial or economical, whatever is going on with your finances, lack of finances, prayerfully you will move. Prayerfully you will take up your bed and walk and quit getting used to being denied. Because the mercy of God is not deserved, but it is freely given. It's given. God bless you. God keep you. I am Evangelist Angela Taylor on Learning Life, Becoming Better. And I send out blessings to everyone.